nice and cool. What else is for here? I'm going to need somebody to pass out these papers. Please, thank you. And I don't know what it is. It's white. It's a blank piece of paper.
Piece of paper.
That's how hard things are. Yeah, exactly. So one day I was talking to Ma and I said, what is our purpose here on the planet? Ma is Dottie's spirit guide. And he says, you're here to experience unconditional love and be unconditional love and to live in your joy. And that's it. Anything else is stuff that humans have just put on themselves. That isn't what God expects of you. What God expects of you is to live in your joy and to be unconditionally loving. Wow. Well, that is a big ask. Because when we come on this planet, all kinds of weird stuff happens. You know,
You're right, it's not on loud enough.
okay.
They turned down the music, I think we turned down the mic.
Yeah, no.
They didn't touch the mic for this. We'll figure it out.
We'll get it sorted.
Go ahead and try it again.
Okay, is that any louder?
Is that any louder?
Oh, there you go. I just need to get
Closer to the mic.
She just needs to be closer, that's all.
okay. So what happens is that we come on this planet, and you know you're born to an alcoholic family, or you have only one parent, or you have someone who has to work all the time to support the family, or you've got a brother that is not kind to you, or a family member that is mean to you. All kinds of things happen that take us out of our joy and prevent us from doing the unconditionally loving thing. You may not even know what unconditional loving is. I mean, as an infant, you do, but boy, that can be beat out of you pretty quick. Anyway, so what happens is that how do we get back into the state of unconditionally loving and being in our joy? Well, we change. Because now, so you guys know that's the case, that we're supposed to be living unconditionally and in joy. So you can't get away with not doing that now. Sorry, thank you, door. So now, how do we do that? It doesn't take away your past, it doesn't take away your current circumstances, but it can change your future. And you can live in a situation where, in a life that's more open. And that's, like Dottie says, if you have to be right all the time, you're going to be in trouble. Because other people are going to feel like they're more right than you are, and so you're going to have an argument. If you're mad at the government all the time, and boy, have we had an opportunity to experience that, it takes you out of your joy and out of your love. People used to think that you'd say Bush, and they go, "How can I love Bush?" Well, now you know how.
I love him dearly.
So, I'm going to talk about two different strategies today. And one is reframing, and the other one is what I wrote about in the CCL Insights with the tiny habits, which is something that I just learned about. I had written an article about it about a year ago in the CCL Insights about, if you're going to exercise and you say that you're going to be on that stationary bike for a half an hour, come on, really? No. I mean, if you haven't been exercising for years, you're not going to be on it for a half an hour. You're setting yourself up to fail immediately. Or even if you say, okay, how about 10 minutes? No, you're not going to do it for 10 minutes either. And so I recommended that you do it for 30 seconds. And if you do it for 30 seconds, then the bike will continue to go for another minute. So, you can do it plan for 30 seconds and go for a minute and a half. That's cool, right? You get a little bonus. But that's what the tiny habits was talking about. That's like, I'm the one that came up with that. But he's going to take credit for it, and I'm going to let him have it because he's works at Stanford. He's been doing this for 25, 30 years, and he's already done the TED Talk on it. So all I did was write a piece on it. But in my hypnosis, that's one of the things that I worked with a guy that was an alcoholic, and I had a 15-minute chit. And so every time we'd be together for 15 minutes, I say, here you go, you didn't drink for 15 minutes. So I figured those small things are what makes habits. So what you want to do is you want to chunk them down so that they're actually doable. that you will succeed. And you only have to do it for 5 days. I'll give you the guy's name and everything so you can look it up on the internet. It's for free. You can sign up with him and he'll talk you through it. And it's like this gal who was doing the article, she said, well, I want to run. I want to be able to, like, run around the block and I do all this kind of stuff. And he says, okay, so for 5 days, I want you to, when you get out of bed, put on your running shoes. Not run. I don't want you to run. I want you to put on your running shoes. So anyway, we'll talk more about all that, because I want to do the thing with the paper first. Okay, that you have in your hand, or wherever you have it. Okay, so what this is going, I want you to write down the negative talk that you do in your head to yourself.
Yep.
Not things that you say out loud to people, the truth about how you feel about yourself. You know, I'm too fat, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not, just make a list. Just make a column down.
The negative self-talk.
All the negative self-talk that I'm going to give you a couple minutes and just, of course, probably you guys know exactly what it is and want to take a couple minutes. So just write it down there, and then everything you can think of, everything that you say to yourself, just the whole.
I need a pen.
I need one also.
Here you go. Okay, thank you.
Can I get one
Got
also?
it. Yep, right here.
Okay, nobody's going to look at this, so be honest. So like if you think that, if you say that you don't like yourself, then you can just put down, that you're no good.
Corky, could you repeat what?
Okay, what I want you to do is to write down all the self-talk, all the negative self-talk that you do, that, oh, I'm no good, oh, I can't do it, oh, I'll never be financially stable. It's like, oh, I always overspend, oh my God, I always overeat, oh my God, and that's, it's just, I'm always late. Whatever it is for you. So how are we doing out there? Still writing? Okay, well, let's leave it at that. Because what I want you to do is I want you to add up the number of events. In other words, it's like for each one, it's like, one, I don't like myself, I think I'm too fat, I think I'm ugly, I think I'm financially unstable, I think so did you write down 5 things? Oh, 5 or 6
Well, you
things?
didn't say 5, I just said I was going.
No, I know, put as many, I'm not putting any limit on it, but, they say if you have 2 or 3, and 2 or 3, that's like on a perfect day. How many people have ever gone through a whole day without screwing up, without doing something?
Oh
No.
gosh, once in a while.
Oh, really?
Once in a while.
All right.
That was the day I didn't get out of bed and leave the house.
Yeah. Or the day I was too hungover to even think about it. Okay, so you've got your total of how many things that you can think of right off the top of your head that you say negatively about yourself to yourself. Now, I want you to think this is the number of times that you are wearing that you're doing negative. Let me read it here. How much energy you are putting into making yourself feel bad. Anything over 2 or 3 a day is wearing a negative groove in your mind. Your synapses are creating new frontiers in your brain, and if you're giving it negative information, that's what's doing it. That's what's going on in there. You're making new information that's creating negative information for yourself. So that's what you're remembering. And every time you do it, you're reinforcing it, and you're making it a habit. Now that doesn't sound like that's God's plan at all.
Well, why are you having us write this stuff down? This is reinforcing it more time.
I know. Because I'm sadistic, that's why.
It's on your list.
I mean to everybody every day. So now what I want you to do is I want you to think, and next to each one of those, write what you would rather have. You know, that I am, as far as weight goes, hey, you know, maybe I don't even care if I'm fat. And I'm getting to that point. As you get older, it really does get to that point.
I'm gonna put a line through my nice stuff and scratch it out and then put what.
Okay, okay.
Can't I just get rid of that "you are" domain somehow?
Oh.
Because everything started with "you are," and it was like, hey, that's kind of like this domain thing, and it's the internet. And if I just get rid of that, then I can put "I am" in front of it, and then "I am not" all of those other things.
Or how about just put the, you don't even have to put the not. What you're gonna do is you say, I am very happy with the way I am. I'm very happy with my body.
I always say I'm practically perfect, me and Mary Poppins.
When you learn to fly, then you're gonna be the.
Hey, I just need the umbrella.
That's right.
I got one in my car, you know.
Meet me in the parking lot. Okay, so across from the negative message, or you cross out the negative message, write its opposite in positive terms. So, you know, next to fat, you would put slim, next to ugly, you put beautiful, next to, you know, whatever. Put something that's positive, because you're gonna reinforce it, so you're gonna reframe it. And every time you start to think, I am blah, you're gonna think of, I am great. Yeah, exactly.
Can we bring Judy with us to go top to toe?
Okay, I mean, we've been told things like, you're never too skinny, you're never too rich. And my mom always said that, like, that was a good thing, to be skinny and rich. Oh, well. I'm rich in my heart, you know. So the next step is to start inserting this new thought form into your mind. So anytime it starts to go, oh man, I'm always, it's like, no, I'm not. I am perfect. I am awesome. I am wonderful, and I'm on time. You know?
I didn't say it.
I said, hey, I was on time, wasn't I? You know?
I am starting out early enough to be on time.
Yeah.
What I did today.
And plus, like with the eating, as we know from like beliefs and that sort of thing, is that eating, your self-image of your body, it really doesn't matter what you look like. It's how you feel about it. You know, bulimics say that they look in the mirror and they look fat, even if they're only 90 pounds. Anorexics, yeah. Right, anorexics. And it's a very sad ordeal to have to go through, that constantly feeling negative about yourself and that you're not presentable. Yes?
Isn't that when you might advise them to come see Corky?
I might. You should go see Corky. Well, she go.
You know, remove that entity that is saying "you are."
Yes, exactly. That's perfect. Do what she said.
Yes, thank you, class.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to this new thing. So this reframing is that just be aware of how often you say negative things to yourself, things that bring you down, things that stay in your mind and you put out to the universe. If you're going to be putting things out to the universe, put something positive, something that's, and it's kind of like you know, the old days when we used to say fake it till you make it. You know, that works too. Okay, so we're going to move on to the tiny habits. So this B.J. Fogg, F-O-G-G, is Director of Persuasion in the Tech Lab at Stanford University, is all about behavior and how you design to change people's behaviors. So he calls it tiny habits.
Tiny habit.
Tiny habits. And so he says, so examples of a tiny habit would be floss one tooth. Don't say I'm going to floss and I'm going to do it 3 times a day. Just say, for 5 days, I'm going to floss 5 days. I'm going to floss one tooth. I'm going to do 1 push-up. I'm going to drink 1 sip of water. That way you have successes. But there's one more piece to it, is that you have to celebrate. at the end, you go, yay, yay, I flossed a tooth. Well, and that's what you do, and then you kind of dance around and you say that. And so one of the things that he was going to do, the doctor, Mr. Fogg, I guess, because he does 50 to 70 push-ups a day, and this is how he does it. He decided that after he pees, that he's going to do 2 push-ups, and then he says, I'm awesome. So then 2 push-ups turned into 5, and then 8, and then extra credit. For extra credit, he sometimes did 12. Over the course of a day, this all adds up.
Well, you have to pee a lot.
Can be done.
Pardon me?
It can be done.
It can be done, yeah. Well, especially when instead of 2, he said, well, I'm gonna do 5. And then he said, I'm gonna do 8. And so that is, that he was gonna pee more often, it was just, he was gonna do more push-ups at that trigger. And he says to make the automatic, you need, 2 things are necessary. And I have flossed one tooth. Boy, what? I don't know, that's what I have here. Anyway, so, but if you're designing at the outcome, you're designing at the wrong direction, the wrong piece. So what you want to do is you want to design for the behavior, and that leads to the outcome. So, it's like, well, you set the goal, and then you go toward the goal. What he does is he sets what he's going to do, like the milestones, and then to get that goal. And of the 15 ways behavior can change, the one that matters most for long-term health is habits. What we're building is a habit. So what he wants you to do is do one thing. Put on your tennis shoes. Don't run, just put on your tennis shoes. Do the floss that 1 tooth, just that 2 push-ups. I don't know, yeah, I guess I could do that. Anyway, it says that the 3 elements of behavior are motivation, agility, no. That might be what you want. Ability and trigger. So, there needs to be some form of motivation, but motivation isn't going to do it alone. I mean, we've all had something that we wanted to do, a goal that we wanted to, and we just felt so motivated for the first 10 or 15 minutes, and it's like, geez, this is going to be too hard, I just can't do it. And everybody's falling for that one. And then it says that ability and motivation are, if it's too hard, then you need a lot of motivation, and if you're highly motivated, you don't need, so motivation, in hypnosis they say that if you just depend on motivation, that you probably fail, that you've got to change the behavior. Just being motivated isn't enough. So let's do what this guy says. And he's got some, and he was saying that to attach it to a trigger, and it was kind of interesting because he went to his sock drawer, and it kind of was the moment, the epiphany. And he says, every time I take a sock out, I close the drawer. So that's the trigger. Taking something out of the drawer triggers him to close it. So what you do is like every time you go into the bathroom, say, you have a glass of water there, or into the kitchen, and you have a glass of water there, and you take a sip. Every time that you go into a certain room, you do a certain behavior. And that way you'll get more water intake, and it'll be a small thing that you can do. And the trigger is walking into the kitchen. And so you start training yourself that every time, it's like Dottie has every time that it rains, she has to go to the bathroom, right? Because your mother, she potty trained her with the water. Mm-hmm. So every time the water turns on, you gotta pee. If you did the push-up with that.
The minute it starts raining, I do a push-up. It's a great day. Let's go drought.
That's right. So, then he has these things called crisp anchors. The crisp anchor is the connection or the chain to the existing habit. So you have the habit of closing the drawer, and then we got to do something else, because when you close the drawer, then you can go so many places from there. Put on your underwear, I don't know, but you would do that anyway, right? So it's something, you're trying to change a habit. So maybe And so he has a list of them. After I step on the scale, I will thank God for the new day. After I start my morning coffee, I will tidy one item in the living room. So I guess that means like pick up one paper. After I wash my, yeah, that'd be a lot of mornings for me. After I wash my face in the morning, I will put sunscreen on. There we go. After I start the dishwasher, I will take my vitamins. After I walk out the door for the day, I will say, today will be a great day. Okay, and then he has some examples for evening habits. After I enter the house at the end of the day, I will kiss my wife for 10 minutes. Seconds.
10 minutes leads into something else.
Not always.
Every day for 5 days. Okay. After I get home, I will set out my workout clothes. Ugh.
Well, you won't need them after that 10-minute kiss.
I'm working out. And then you can say, boy, that worked out.
Put on a happy face, too.
Indeed, that's what this one does. Happy dance. So after I put my kids in bed, I will tell them good night, I love you, sweet dreams. After I take off my clothes at night, I will put them away. Yeah, I'm not. Anyway, and this reminds me of in the Chinese restaurant when you do the, you always say between the sheets after you will be successful between the sheets. Anyway, this is starting to sound more and more like that, isn't it? After my head hits the pillow, I will think of something I am grateful for. Boy, if I just had time, I go to sleep pretty quick. And so that's the, anyway, with the crisp anchor, you're going to connect your habit to an existing habit. Okay, that's really a key thing. And of course to celebrate, right? A simple way to remember the behavior along with time and place to do it, so that if every time you, in the case of the person who's writing the article, she gets out of bed and she puts on her running shoes. Now, if you slept in the nude, wouldn't that be funny? With your little, anyway.
I'll run to the potty.
Indeed.
And floss one
And
too.
floss one too. Anyway, so, but there's these key things that you need to remember. If you want to make a long-term change, make the behavior change tiny, very tiny, because you'll be successful and you'll do it. Practicing changing your behavior, this will give you a good understanding of how behaviors work. Motivation doesn't work for the long run. High levels of motivation allow us to do hard things, but we don't need to make things hard. Train to make it automatic. You're not training to learn how to floss your teeth. You're training yourself to have the behaviors simple and systematic. See, the theory is that you're flossing that one tooth. Now you know where the floss is. You're going to keep it there. You know how much to take off. You know how to do it. You know how to wrap it around your finger. You know it doesn't hurt so much once you start doing it. So you learn all these things in that one, doing it once a day for 5 days, and then you go, oh, what the hell? I might as well do them all. I'm here. I might as well do it. Okay. So
Corky, you've always heard probably, how do you eat an elephant?
one bite at a time. Exactly. So find the celebration that works for you. So if dancing around doesn't necessarily do it, that's okay. You can do something else, but you have to celebrate. And then if you're ever struggled with changing a habit, now you know what to do. And it says, are you ready to floss your teeth? And he said, don't do it on meditation because there's just some things that are too big to chunk down. So you've got to choose something that can be broken down into little tiny behaviors, little tiny habits. Oh,
Can I share mine?
yes.
The way I stopped smoking, a lot of you are not old enough to remember when you could smoke at your desk. I had come out of the hospital because I had pneumonia, and they suggested I stop smoking. And so I would sit there and I watched the first day when I got back to work, and I said, I'm not going to have a cigarette until 8 o'clock. I got to work at 7. And 8 o'clock came and I said, I can make it for another hour. And the way I stopped smoking is for 2 weeks, I didn't smoke an hour at a time.
Wow.
That's perfect.
And after 2 weeks, I gave my cigarettes to my mother. And I don't know why. I wasn't wishing her bad luck, but she was.
Well, to share, you're sharing.
But that little bit of time, and when you can tell anybody, and you do it for 10 minutes, and stop drinking is the same way. Sometimes it has to be 5-10 minutes at a time. And yes.
Oh, no, go ahead and finish what you're saying, I was just gonna add on to it.
Yeah, but that whole idea of how long can you not do something?
I can hold my breath for not very long.
Not very long. Yeah.
But I can do it longer if I practice, you know. I
You can do it longer, so you just, yeah.
Yes.
For me, when I quit smoking, it was to remind myself what I liked about it and why I was choosing no longer to participate with it. I loved the way the tobacco smelled, but once I tasted it,
Yeah.
so there, I did the good and the bad, this I like, this I don't. This is why I'm choosing not to do what I
Right, that's
like.
like our first exercise where you write down
Yeah, exactly.
something and then change it with another behavior. So are there any questions, comments? Okay, guys, so I challenge you. Everybody in here probably has something they want to change. God wants you to be happy. God knows. God wants you to be happy. So, you know, to live in your bliss. Remember, that's probably one of the hardest things you'll do is live in your bliss. And be unconditionally loving. I mean, you can be unconditionally loving now and then, but try doing it for the rest of your life. So that's not my challenge, because I want you to succeed.
One step at a time.
Yeah, one little tiny habit. And go online and read about it. His name is F-O-G-G, B.J. Fogg, and he's at Stanford. And he's got a, you know, and you can sign up for a week, and he will coach you for free. So, I mean, there's no reason for you, and I know this works because I've done it myself. Before I read about it, but he helps, you know, break it down so there's more things that you can do to make yourself successful. And do it. And everybody here, I'm sure, has something that they want to change.
Yeah. You need to announce the choir.
And the choir. We're singing again.
Yeah.
Okay, so, choir, we're singing again. Wait.